Hey, good to see you again. The factory sent over the parts that were looking good on the rig. They're being fitted as we speak. Have a look at the report.
Yo, what is going on, guys? It is Foxy298 here, and welcome back to a brand new F1 2016 career mode video for you guys today here on my channel. Today, as you can see on your screens, the new upgrade has arrived here for China, which is the barge boards. So the upgrade level you can see is now 1 out of 5, and the drag has been reduced by 2.4%. So turbulence created from the wheel profile can be reduced by more effective barge boards, resulting in the reduction of drag, which is absolutely awesome. Now, if you did enjoy or if you did watch yesterday's career mode video, I won't spoil it for you, but it was an absolutely amazing video, an amazing race for us, for McLaren, and it's really put us on good terms in terms of how we are. In terms of the actual career mode itself then, so you can see that McLaren has got, in terms of the rivalry, we've actually nearly beat Jenson Button's rivalry at the moment. We are currently on 27 out of 30, Jenson on 10 out of 30. Research and development, you can see we have got 387 research points. You can see where everyone is in terms of the research development system. So we are currently sitting 6th in the system. Of course, we want to try and now upgrade, beat Haas in the development system. So we've got engine power, fuel efficiency, and downforce are the 3 that we have not upgraded yet. We can do fuel efficiency already, but I haven't had issues with the fuel yet. So I'm going to leave that one for now because it simply just isn't needed at the moment. But yeah, that's all I've got to say. In terms of the standings, if you haven't seen it, we're currently sitting 5th in the drivers' standings, tied on points with Kimi Räikkönen, but I believe Räikkönen has had some higher placed results to us. Mercedes are currently leading the way in the drivers' standings, both of them on 43 points. They have both collected 1-2s, so Mercedes absolutely dominating. Myself there with 23 points. Ricciardo down below us, as well as Max Verstappen. Button is in front of Max Verstappen, which is absolutely awesome. And then we've got Grosjean and Carlos Sainz, who have also scored some points. No one else has scored points. Everyone else is down in the championship. Moving on to the Constructors' Championship, you can see Mercedes lead the way after 2 1-2s with 86 points. We are currently, or Ferrari are in 2nd place with 47 points. We are in 3rd place with 27 points. And Red Bull Racing there with 20 points. Williams with 19. Haas with just the 2 points. And then Toro Rosso with the 1 point. And then the other 4 teams are yet to score points. But today, for China, it is one of my weakest tracks, so we really do need to push ourselves for this Grand Prix, and hope that we can try and improve for this race. So if you do enjoy this video, drop it a like rating, that'd be absolutely awesome. That is your little preview of everything that's been going on so far. Yeah, we will be going to practice now, so I'm going to post-commentate everything now, practice qualifying the race. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the Chinese Grand Prix. Alright, so you can see that we are now in the practice sessions for the Chinese Grand Prix, and as you can see, we're starting things off with the normal track accumulation practice session, whereby you go around the track, you hit all the gates, make sure you get them bang on, but open the DRS on point. You know the drill already on how this one works, but you can see how we're doing so far. We've currently done an absolutely amazing lap. Unfortunately, we went wide in the hairpin there. That got us a red on 14, but overall we've been purple everywhere apart from one other place where we got a green. So it's been a fantastic lap for us on this occasion. Open up the DRS and you can see that we managed to get a purple lap, which is brilliant, exactly what you needed to do in order to complete that. So it's absolutely awesome, and we go around again. Now the next one, of course, is the qualifying simulation run. Now the tyre wear one, because of the high-speed corners around China, it was literally impossible. Like, as soon as I went around one of the first corners, like turn 1 or even the middle sector, the car would just go absolutely everywhere and the tyre wear would just go right down. So I kind of just stepped away from that one. I was happy to sacrifice 50 resource points for that. So we just go on to the qualifying simulation run anyway. Braking down into the final corner. It's been a decent lap for us. Nothing too amazing, of course. It is going to be a purple lap though, as you can see right there. That means that that objective is also complete, which is absolutely awesome. Exactly what we needed. And then Magnussen comes flying back past as we complete that. And that's going to be the end of practice then. So you can see there, we're currently in 2nd position in practice. Of course, don't take anything. This is only practice 1. So we will be maybe slightly faster. We'll be further down the grid than that So yeah, so that's the end of the first practice, and we're going to go and have a look at the research or the R&D development system, and we're going to see what we can potentially do for the car. So you can see the resource points now. We've got 10 there, 50 for the track accumulation, 50 for the qualifying pace, 4 laps completed, disciplinary reward, and all this other stuff. And you can see we've got 158 RP, which is going to give us 545 resource points. Now, if we listen to the voicemail sent in from us, this is going to be the team giving us an objective for the the Chinese Grand Prix. And the qualifying goals today, you can see them on your screens right there. They're the goals that the team have set us. So what we need to do is we need to go and beat those setups. So let's have a look then at the research and development system. So what I decided to do is, because there was a couple of difficult tracks coming up, I decided to go for downforce front wing turn-in vanes. I decided that would be the best option for the car and something that we can work on. But let's get into qualifying. If actually I need to open my laptop. I was going to do that, but yeah, let's go to qualifying.
We'd like to welcome you from wherever in the world you join us today for this F1 qualifying session here in Shanghai, China. I was looking at some highlights of previous races here, and the one thing that really stood out to me was the run down to turn 1. It's not an easy one to navigate, as everyone is scrapping to get into there first.
It's the scene of many incidents as drivers jostle for position. You have to make a choice between going for it and self-preservation. There's no point in going in hot if you don't come out intact the other side. Even if you're at the front, you will be worrying about the guys behind you.
Okay then, so we are coming up for qualifying now. As you can see here are the park firming regulations. We just go through all of those. So we need to see if we can try and make it into Q3 and forward. So this is, I believe, the second run in Q1. I had a bit of a bad run the first time around in Q1, so I decided to go out and do a second run. And as you can see, we come through the hairpin, we kind of missed the apex a bit, we sort of outbrake ourselves, and then coming down into the final corner, you can see the delta in the top right, seeing how much quicker we actually are on this lap compared to what I was in my previous lap. So we go and we bang that lap time, we qualify in 4th place for the Chinese Grand Prix. That is Q1, I believe, complete. As we come around now towards the second corner, you can see we actually managed to end up, I believe that says, in 8th position. So not a bad session for Q1. Jensen just making it into Q2. We now go into Q2, and you can see again, I'm not going to show every single, the whole lap of everything, because I feel like it's just a little bit of a waste. So Verstappen there sets the fastest lap. We come across the line, and we go and set 5th position for Q2, which I felt was enough to get me into Q3. So I decided not to set another lap time. I decided to keep it as that. Just maintain my position. And you can see we qualified in 8th position. Hamilton just making it into Q3. Him and Rosberg going on the soft tyres, so they're going to be doing a different strategy. My teammate Jensen Button only managed 16th, so we managed to make it into Q3, which was absolutely awesome for us. And as we come down the back straight now, this is Q3. Braking hard, Raikkonen setting the final lap, the fastest lap of the race so far. You can see we make a good exit out of the corner, braking hard now down towards the final corner. Hamilton with the new fastest lap, setting him onto provisional pole. We come across the line and we go and smash a lap time, getting us into 3rd place, which was absolutely awesome for us. I do believe we actually ended up qualifying in 4th place, I think. Yeah, we did. 4th place, which was a fantastic result. I was expecting to be a lot further down the order than that. But somehow we managed to get into 4th place. I am going to be increasing. I'll tell it after the. I'll tell it during the formation lap. But I believe that is everything now. So you can see the resource points that we are going to be getting for completing an amazing qualifying session. So you can see we've got 112 resource points to add on to the points that we've already got. In the rivalry then with Jensen Button, we actually go and win the rivalry right here. You can see that we've now taken over. And we have won the rivalry, beating Jensen Button, which is very, very good indeed. And you can see all the driver positions and everything like that. The higher up you are in the driver positions, the more likely you're going to be at a #1 driver's seat. So we're going to listen to the voicemail now and see what the team expects from me for today's Grand Prix. Hopefully it is something doable, but you can see the race goals there on your screens that they would like me to complete. We're now going to go and check into the laptop, I do believe, before we enter into qualifying. So we go over to the research and development system, and you can see that I did eventually go and upgrade. I do believe I do eventually go and upgrade the downforce for the front ring and the turning vanes. I just double check here. Yep, we do. We go straight in there and we increase, we do that, which is absolutely awesome. And now let's get into qualifying. Not qualifying, my bad, the race.
Hard work, ingenuity and ambition. All things you'll find in abundance amongst the 15 million people of Shanghai over there to our southeast. And we've got plenty of that here on the grid as well. 20,000 horsepower, give or take, chomping at the bit to be unleashed for the Chinese Grand Prix. Shanghai International Circuit then, a 16-corner high-speed thrill ride. The long and ever-tightening right-hander at turns 1 and 2 tests a driver's patience, and the flat, open to the elements location, tests their skill in a crosswind. 2 DRS zones will assist passing, and overtaking is available into turn 1, and of course down the kilometre-long back straight into the hairpin at turn 14. Joining me once again to take you through this race is the effervescent Anthony Davidson, and I'm very much looking forward to it getting underway. You raced here, of course, didn't you, back in your Super Aguri days in that infamous Chinese Grand Prix of 2007?
Yeah, that's right. I didn't last that long, though, unfortunately. Qualifying had gone pretty well, but my brakes failed quite early in the race, around lap 10 or 11, something like that. And of course, back in 2004, I was the very first Formula 1 driver to complete a lap of this circuit. Just thought I'd mention that for you, Crofty. You like a good stat. It's a fairly tough circuit on the brakes here, though. You know, it's that long back straight down into turn 14, and then you got turn 6 and 11. They're quite heavy as well. On top of that, managing your front tyre wear is always a challenge around here, so there's a lot to keep in mind during the Grand Prix.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
With that then, let's run through the grid order. Kimi Raikkonen's perfect lap yesterday sees him start from pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Rosberg and a McLaren, Max Verstappen and Ricciardo, Vettel, Bottas, Sainz and Felipe Massa, Kvyat, Gutierrez, Romain Grosjean and Perez, Hülkenberg, Button, Kevin Magnussen and Jolyon Palmer, Nasser and Ericsson, Rio Haryanto and Pascal Wehrlein completes the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Alright then, so as you can see, the conditions have changed since qualifying. It is going to be a wet race, and as you can see on the strategy, there is no chance at this moment that we're going to be getting any dry weather. So it's all going to be a wet weather race, which has really spiced things up. As soon as the track, as soon as the introduction of David Croft and Anthony Davidson talking about there being, talking about the race, and I saw that the track was wet, I was super excited to take part in this Grand Prix now, because I thought as soon as the track, if the track was dry, my initial thoughts were I would get off the line, I would maybe make a few positions up, maybe I wouldn't, maybe I'd maintain my position. But my thoughts were I was going to be on the defensive the whole race, and everyone else would just overtake me. And from starting fourth, such a strong position, I would be falling all the way down the grid. But now that the track is wet, I generally thought to myself that I could potentially challenge, because of course the McLaren has always been strong in the wet. We've seen that even in real life, and I have done some races in the wet with this McLaren, and it does feel good. So I was super excited to take part in this race as we're coming around the formation lap now. Again, we're just trying to put some temperature into the tyres and the brakes, and it's more important that we put temperature in the tyres and the brakes right now than we would if the track was dry. The reason that it's more important that we do it now is for the basis that, of course, because it's wet, we need warm tyres, we need warm brakes, because we don't want to be locking up the brakes, we don't want to be locking up the tyres, and because of course since it's wet, we don't want to be wheel spinning and struggling to get the power down, because of course in the wet it is a lot more difficult to control the car. So by having as much temperature in the tyres as possible, you can see I want to make sure that when I make these sudden darts like I am now, that the car doesn't necessarily constantly slide on me, and that's something important. We need to make sure that we do that. So we're coming around now towards the main back straight on this formation lap, and again making sure everything is up to temperature, everything is working fine. And as you can see, we do a couple of little bits of weaves. I get on the curb, a little bit of a hairy moment there, nearly spun it out, nearly crashed it into the barrier, which would have been really, really embarrassing. But yeah, we just got onto the curb there. The curbs and the white paint, especially in the wet, we do not want to be going anywhere near those, because of course it is going to affect us massively if we do that. Braking now down into the hairpin, you can see again everything is under control. Eventually then the game is going to be taking over from my position, so as we do a couple more burnouts on the track, you can see that it is now going to be taking over the grid. Once you get that secondary sign which says that the grid, preparing the grid for the race start, standby, that basically means that the game is now going to be taking over everybody, so it's even going to be taking over your controls. It's going to line you up on the grids properly, and then of course you will have the black screen, and then it will be lights out for the Grand Prix. But we need to sit here, we're going to have to sit here for a while now, because of course we're starting in 4th place. We need to wait for everybody back down the grid to actually line themselves up, and I believe that's 18 cars. So we need to wait a long time before people start getting around the final corner, getting into their correct positions, so we can get this race underway and we can really go for it. Because at the start, I think we can try something. Let's see what we can do. So we're waiting for the rest of the cars now to line up on the edge of the grid. Hopefully we can try and do something awesome. And I think that is the last car on the grid. There it is. There's the screen that we always wanted to see. Right, we put our self on the clutch. We've got 5 red lights. It's lights out, and away we go for the Chinese Grand Prix. It's a fantastic start for Nico Rosberg. He moves over to the right hand side to get Kimi Raikkonen, but he's actually been blocked. That's given me the chance. We're up into 2nd straight away, down the inside of Lewis Hamilton into P1 straight away from the start. Fantastic start for us. Yellow flag, someone has made some contact or something. Down into turn 1, I lead, Raikkonen 2nd, and a virtual safety car straight away. The first time that we've ever seen a virtual safety car in this F1 game. The first time I've ever seen it. And yeah, we've got a virtual safety car, but what a start. We managed to take advantage of a little bit of a problem with Rosberg at the start. Rosberg moved to the right hand side to take over Kimi Raikkonen. Raikkonen moved him over. Rosberg had to back out of it. The secondary phase of our start, our car just launched off the grid. The initial getaway wasn't brilliant, but look, we will be getting a replay of the start at the end of the lap, so don't worry about that. But the virtual safety car is now about to end. We're trying to make sure we stay in the delta time here, coming down into this difficult corner. Safety car's gone. We can now carry on and we can push underway again, breaking down now into this difficult little corner. Again, we just need to settle into the track. We run a little bit wide. We need to make sure that we just keep that in mind. And we come in now down towards the back straight. Raikkonen right behind us. We need to make sure that we can defend him. Braking now down into the final corner. Again, we set the purple middle sector because we are the lead car, which means that we're going to be setting the initial fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Braking now down towards coming down towards this long banking corner in the wet. It's going to be super difficult, but the traction is just there. And down the back straight, Raikkonen is not even anywhere near us. He's not challenging us at the moment. As we come now down towards this hairpin corner, we need to make sure that we get this perfectly right. If we lock up a brake, we're going to be losing some positions. Going down into the hairpin now, you can see we take that good apex corner. Decent corner considering it's lap 1 and it's in the wet. But all of a sudden, this tide is just twisted. We've gone from 4th and we are now leading this race. Take on the final corner. We get a warning there for exceeding the track limits, which is fair enough. And we come down now, fastest lap for us, and we are in the lead of the Chinese Grand Prix, and we're pulling away straight away, which is absolutely amazing to see. And if we come down through turn 1, we can see we make a couple of little error. We managed to get ourselves back on course, and then we braking down in towards turn 2. And what a start to the race. We could not have asked for anything better at the start of the Grand Prix, and that is everything that we really needed for the start of the race. But let's get a replay at the start then. So you can see our initial getaway is not that amazing actually, but it's as soon as Rosberg makes that move on Raikkonen that we're straight in on him. We go right round the inside of Hamilton, which is fair enough, and then all of a sudden, oh there it is, look, Hamilton's gone straight into Rosberg, And that's what's caused the virtual safety car to come out. You can see it coming out straight away. There's us in the lead. I think we're going to get some POVs here of what just happened to Hamilton at the start there. So let's have a little look then. So we're coming now down towards this sector on the circuit. Let's get a look then. So Hamilton here gets a decent start. It's not too bad. We then he breaks into turn 1. There I come. No contact between us, so we're alright. He goes, okay, so he's gone straight into Rosberg as soon as I forced him wide. Let's have a look again here. Rosberg gets a brilliant start, let's not face it. He then moves over, has to brake because of Raikkonen coming in his way. I come storming through past everybody. You can see me, I go straight through, give Hamilton a little bit of room. Hamilton tries to get the racing line and he makes contact, actually breaking the end plate off Rosberg's front wing. Let's have a look with Daniel Ricciardo. So you can see, look, the initial getaway was poor, but then you can see my secondary phase was just absolutely unbelievable. Down into turn 1, I take the inside line. Hamilton then tries to get back on the racing line, and then they just make contact. For me, that's probably Hamilton's fault. That wasn't anything to do with us. That was all Hamilton's problems. So we come back on board now with the replay of the actual first lap. So this is the part during the virtual safety car. I actually slowed down a lot because I was going faster than what the delta time was. As long as you stick within the delta time, that's fine. If you do go faster than the safety car delta, or the virtual safety car's delta time, you've got at least 15 seconds, I believe it is, to slow your car down to make sure that you're going within the delta time. If you don't know what that is, just have a look in the top right of the screen, and it'll say whether you're quicker than the time or whether you are slower than the time, and you want to be going just about even with the delta time. But you can see where we are now. The virtual safety car actually ended, so this is when we can get back up to full racing, and this is where Kimi Raikkonen will be looking to try and get an advantage on us. As you can also see on the screen, I put a replay sign in the top left-hand corner, just so you know when we do these camera angles, which ones are replays and which ones are actual live actions. So, as you can see, we're coming now down towards this long banking corner, and Raikkonen is going to be wanting to challenge us. We know he's going to be challenging us. He's going to be pretty difficult as we come now. A beautiful angle. You can see us there taking the corner. Everyone else taking the corner perfectly. I stay a little bit away from the curbs just to make sure that we do not manage to spin out. Coming down the back straight now, and you can see the gap that I'm already building to Raikkonen. I'm already managing to pull out a little bit of an advantage. Breaking down into the hairpin, making sure it's nice and cautious. Missed the apex just a little bit, but we do manage to hit that hairpin pretty much bang on the exit, which is brilliant for us. And you can see Raikkonen now starting to lose track with us already. We are making great use, and then of course we do go off the track there, which was a little bit silly of us. But down, and that's the first lap completed. A brilliant lap from us, and we skip ahead back to where we were now on lap 2 of this Grand Prix. We break now down in towards the into this first end of the first sector. You can see we go purple, and you can already see, look, the advantage that I'm pulling out over the rest of the field in the wet weather conditions. The wet weather suited the car, and you can just see, look, how much speed I'm able to carry through this middle sector especially. But we skip ahead to lap 4 in a very hairy moment there for us. We actually managed to get onto the banking corner. We took the curb on this time. I felt a lot comfortable with the car, and all of a sudden I didn't feel comfortable because I went onto the curb and it nearly spun me out and lost me track position. But lap 4, and you can already see the gap is getting much, much bigger between me and Kimi Raikkonen at the moment. You can just see, I'm just showing you clips now because you can just see how easy I was able to just bang onto the curbs and just being able to just really attack the track in the wet. It was such a dream drive for me to do this, and you can already see the gap there in the top left between me and Raikkonen, and that just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And if Rosberg and Raikkonen begin to start fighting each other, they're going to be losing even more time to me. And to be honest, they need to stop scrapping, and they're going to need to start trying to pick up the pace, because on lap 5, it is me out in front. No one is beginning to challenge me. I am just constantly pulling away, managing the race, and I'm just doing a job that I didn't expect to be doing. I didn't expect to be winning the Chinese Grand Prix and pulling away from the Ferraris and the Mercedes and the Red Bulls. That's something I just didn't even expect. But the intermediate conditions, it's wet weather dreams, basically. It's a wet dream, basically, is the best way of putting it. If you don't know what a wet dream is, it's this. This is a wet dream. You're seeing on your screens right now. This is an ultimate wet dream. But we skip ahead a little bit further into the race. We're now on to lap 6, and you can see Rosberg has now overtaken Raikkonen. Now, I'll be showing some action later on, but you can see we're breaking now down towards the hairpin, and the gap is getting even bigger. It's not decreasing. No one's actually closing in on me. So the McLaren in the wet, we want more wet weather races to come this season, because The McLaren in the wet at the moment is just absolutely amazing, but we run a bit wide, we warn for cheating, and we actually got a 3-second time limit, time penalty. I actually went wide more than 3 times, I think, over in that final corner, and we have been given a 3-second time penalty for exceeding the track limits, which is pretty annoying. I hate the track limits rule in Formula 1, but nevertheless, we now need to start concentrating, because if Rosberg tries to catch us, we could be in trouble with the 3-second time penalty. But we skip ahead to lap 8. Again, we try and hit that curb, but nothing comes of it. But you can see the cars there. They're not even entered the banking corner yet. And we are just off into the distance. They are not going to be catching us anytime soon. And yeah, I just thought I would just show some action of myself, because it's just all plain sailing. Nothing is going wrong for us. I'm trying to constantly check the weather report, because I wanted to try and build as big a gap as I possibly could, because if we do need to change for dry tyres, the likelihood is the Mercedes and the Ferraris and the Red Bulls will close up on us, and I was trying to see if it would stay that way. But we set the fastest lap of the race, and you can see we've got a massive gap out front, and all is going well for us in our cars. But we skip a little bit further ahead. You can see I'm changing some camera angles, and this is a scrap that happens behind me. This is Raikkonen and Rosberg with Ricciardo, Verstappen and Vettel all in a big train. You can see Rosberg now moves over to the right-hand side of the circuit. He then goes through and he makes the overtake on Raikkonen. Bearing in mind this is a little bit earlier on in the Grand Prix. Rosberg a little bit shaky into the hairpin. He makes the move on Raikkonen. And that was what I was worried about. As soon as I saw Rosberg overtake Raikkonen in the Grand Prix itself, I thought this was it. Rosberg is now going to catch me. He has now been released from traffic, basically. But that's not quite what happened. Raikkonen comes back at Rosberg. We're coming down the main straight. DRS is disabled because of the rain. He moves over to the right-hand side himself, and he brakes into the hairpin. Rosberg actually brakes a little later, but Raikkonen again a little bit jittery on the brakes. And as you can see, the Red Bulls and the Ferrari right behind, all ready to make advantage of anything that happens. But you can see Rosberg staying right with Raikkonen, coming down into the final corner. Rosberg manages to maintain position. Raikkonen has to back out of it. Red Bulls and Vettel ready to pounce at anything that comes their way. You can see Rosberg now in front. Daniel Ricciardo right on the back of Raikkonen. He can make a move into turn 1, but he decides against it and decides to stay right underneath the rear of the Ferrari car. And we come back on ourselves. I'll trying to pick a good camera angle. And here comes Kimi Raikkonen again. Rosberg again. With Rosberg as well, he's actually also got front wing damage. I forgot to mention that. I did mention it at the start, but Rosberg has got damage to his front wing. Raikkonen comes through. He tries to make a move. He then thinks against it. And that's probably what's happening. Rosberg has the straight line speed in the Mercedes, but perhaps maybe the front wing, the loss of the end plate that he got from his contact with his teammate Hamilton, potentially is costing Rosberg a lot of time. And all of this battling is just letting me pull away so much more, because the more times that these guys are trying to scrap around, the more it's going to help me out. But we saw Williams there coming into the pits, so we try and take things onwards. But we go on board with Rosberg, breaking down into the hairpin, and all of a sudden, here comes a wild Kimi Raikkonen coming back at Rosberg again, down the inside of the hairpin. But again, Rosberg fights him off, and the traction and the power of the Mercedes, too much for Kimi Raikkonen, breaking down into the final corner. Raikkonen has to back out of it, and he needs to watch out now, because the Red Bulls will be coming closer to him. And again, Red Bull there, you can have a look, and we're back on board again. They constantly started fighting in this hairpin. They were really going for it, these guys. Raikkonen moves over to the right-hand side. Again, he's going to try the inside line again. Will he make it stick? He goes into the hairpin. But again, Rosberg puts on the brakes and is more braver on his brakes than Kimi Raikkonen is. But this time, Raikkonen gets a little bit more traction coming out of the corner. Will Rosberg be able to take the move? No. Rosberg is going to stick with it. Raikkonen has to back out of it. Now he is extremely vulnerable to those Red Bulls. But I do believe that Raikkonen does maintain position. You can see it there on your screens. Rosberg maintains second, Raikkonen third, and the Red Bulls fourth and fifth, with Vettel in sixth. Skip ahead back now to lap 9 of this Grand Prix, and now we skip ahead all the way to lap 14, the final lap of this Chinese Grand Prix, and there's nothing more I can say apart from we we're miles in front. No one has gone anywhere near us in this Grand Prix. We just haven't been challenged, and we have got an absolutely huge lead. I believe it's like 26, 28 seconds we've got out front, but the McLaren is probably one of my favourite cars to drive in the wet. We have absolutely blitzed it this entire Grand Prix. We started fourth, and we've just done something impeccable, and I do strongly believe that the weather and the scrapping between the rest of the field really helped us out, and that's been the case throughout this season here. And of course, from next race onwards, I will be confirming that this is all on Expert AI, which is the AI difficulty that I've been comfortable with. Next race will be Legend AI for onwards, because I feel like I need to now make that step up to a more difficult difficulty. So we will be doing that step for the next race, but I just want to salvage in the moment because we're coming around the banking corner now, and I showed the entirety of this final lap just to show how well planted the McLaren was and how easy it was for me to just drive this car comfortably and really just perform well for the team. And it's going to be breaking down into the hairpin corner now. You can see we have managed to nail the apex perfectly. Kevin Magnussen, sorry, has retired from the race. That's a shame for him on the final lap. But for the first time since Brazil 2012, we're going to be coming across the line, and McLaren is going to win the Chinese Grand Prix. What an epic race for us. We have won the Chinese Grand Prix. Absolutely fantastic stuff. The wet weather really helped us out in this race. We were super quick in the wet, and I couldn't believe that we've managed to win this race. And what an absolutely epic result for us. P1 here in China. Salvage the moment, because next race we're going to be changing it to Legend AI, and that's when it's going to get a lot harder. But for now, because I felt that I needed to just be a little bit more time learning the game, that's a fantastic result for us. Raikkonen all the way down in 4th, so he was second at a stage. So he's obviously dropped down the order as well, which is a shame for him. But overall, an absolutely fantastic result. And I can't believe that we've managed to win a Grand Prix. And you can see there, Ricciardo finishes 3rd, Rosberg 2nd. And there we are, top step of the podium. Salvage in the moment, because I doubt we'll be able to do that. Number 98, McLaren Honda, winner of the Chinese Grand Prix. Absolutely amazing. Guys, if you have enjoyed this episode, drop a like rating, that'd be absolutely awesome. Subscribe if you're new around here. Thank you ever so much for the support on these F1 videos. They've been absolutely amazing, and the career mode will continue. Next race is going to take place in Sochi for the Russian Grand Prix. This will change to Legend AI, so expect us to have a lot more hard-fought races and expect us to be a lot further down the order than we are now. P1 for China. Maybe towards the end of the season we can pick up a few more victories, but for now we really need to focus on learning how to play on Legend AI. If you're wondering why I was playing on Expert AI, which is a difficulty lower, it's because it was what I felt comfortable with at the time, and I was just learning the game. Now that I've learnt the game, we've done 3 races, I will now move up the difficulty and really test myself for this one. But you can see there's the Drivers' Championship. We're now up to 2nd, which is awesome, but again, I don't think we're going to be staying there for very long with difficulty increase coming up. In the Constructors' standings, I do believe that we are still 3rd in the Constructors' standings. We'll just quickly double check that before we do outro this video. Yeah, we are 3rd in the standings, but hope you guys enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you all for the next race in Sochi. Take care. Peace.